Hi, I'm Elly. Today I'm going to read you a story called Studying is Hard. Okay, are you ready to listen? Okay, I'm going to read you the story. Studying is hard. Do you know what do you want to be when you grow up? I haven't decided yet, but I think about it a lot. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to be a doctor or a teacher. Then I imagine how neat it would be to discover a new planet as an astronaut or make a new kind of medicine as a scientist so that nobody will ever get sick. Mom and Dad keep telling me that I can be anything I want to be as long as I work hard and do well at school. Mom said part of my job as a kid is to go to school, study hard, and do the best I can do. And then when I get older, I can be anything I want, even a veterinary. I know that doing well at school and studying hard is a good idea, but sometimes learning and studying isn't any fun at all. Sometimes it's even boring and other times it's way too hard. Did you know that learning and studying is a full-time job? There are projects to do, homeworks to finish, books to read, spelling tests, and math tests. And just when you think you've finished, there's always more and more studying, another book report, and more homework to do. It's endless. So what does this all mean? It means that there is less time to do all the fun things, like hanging out with friends or watching TV, and then when there is time to have fun, everybody else is busy studying. Sometimes don't you just want to quit studying so hard and just go and have fun? I know I do. But when I think of all the times when I really studied hard for a test and I ended up getting an A. It's the best feeling in the world when that happens, and that's when missing my favorite TV show because I had to study didn't seem so terrible anymore. Getting an A made it all worthwhile. What do you like best about school besides recess and lunch? The best part I like about school is when we learn about something really cool like volcanoes or dinosaurs, or when we all learn how to play different kinds of instruments like the flute or the trumpet. That's when school and learning is fun. But have you ever tried really hard to learn something new and no matter how hard you tried, you just couldn't get it? I think this happens to everybody at least once in a while. Whenever this happens to me, I get frustrated and I just want to give up and stop trying. Last week when my teacher was showing the class a new way to do multiplication, I just couldn't figure it out no matter how hard I tried. After a while I got mad and frustrated and I wanted to give up, but my teacher wouldn't let me. Instead, my teacher offered to stay after school and help me with my multiplication. I have a test was coming up and it was important to learn my facts. Although I didn't want to miss walking home with my friends, I did. While my friends left to go home, I was stuck with my teacher in the classroom. Ugh. The surprising part about staying after school with my teacher was that I had fun. My teacher showed me some different ways for me to learn and fun ways for me to study. By the time I've done, not only was I laughing and joking around with my teacher, but also I had finally figured out multiplication. I had got it. A few days later, the day came for take the multiplication test. I was scared. I didn't want to let down my teacher or my parents or even myself. I wanted to prove to everybody that I could do it. When the teacher handed out the test and the class was told to begin, that my heart went blank and I couldn't remember anything. I started to panic. For a few minutes, I sat and watched the kids around me working on their tests. Then, out of the corner, I took my eye and saw my teacher looking at me. When I looked over at her and she smiled and gave me a thumbs up, that's when I remembered all the things I had studied. I picked up my pencil and started the test. And guess what? I did it. I got a B plus in that test. All all my studying and hard work was worth it because not only did it feel great to get a good mark, but I also learned that study studying doesn't have to be so hard. There's more than one way to study, and when you make studying fun, learning is easy. Okay, I read this book down, but this book ended up really fast, so I'm going to read one more book. Okay, wait a minute. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Really, wait a minute. Okay, and I'm going to read you one more book, and the one more book is called A Daddy Lost His Job. I love this book. Just I love this book. Daddy lost his job. Money, money, money. I never really thought about it until last week when Dad lost his job. Wait a minute. That's when everything changed, including me. Instead of thinking about all the things that I wanted, like those black and white soccer shoes or even a new video game, I started to think about the things we needed. I'll never forget the day. It was the biggest snowstorm of the season. There was snow everywhere. There was so much snow that you couldn't even see across the street. The whole town had shut down. Everything was closed. Even the restaurants were closed. We were officially snowed in. That meant it was a perfect day to get cozy by the fire and watch movies. And that's what we did. Dad and I built the fire, and Mom and my brother Ricky made the popcorn. When we waited for the movies, played cards, and waited to the snow to stop falling, it was the best day ever until the phone rang. I'll get it, said Dad as he rolled off the couch. A few minutes later, Dad came back. He had a funny look on his face, like he was scared. What happened? Mom asked. I have some bad news, Dad said as he sat down on the couch beside me. My company is trying to save money, so that means that a lot of people are losing their jobs, and I'm one of them. I've lost my job, Dad said. At that moment, everything seemed to stop. It was as if time stood still. I couldn't hear the movie, the fire stopped crackling, and the popcorn that I had just eaten seemed to be stuck in the back of my throat. We sat in silence, each of us lost in our own thoughts, wondering, what are we going to do? Then Mom stood up. A snowy day isn't complete until we've had hot chocolate, Mom said as she headed to the kitchen. Cheer up, guys, Dad says. We'll figure things out. Don't worry. After a few days of being snowed in, the town was finally coming back to life and things were getting back to normal. Everything except that Dad didn't have a job. I have to admit that it was kind of nice eating breakfast with Dad in the morning before we went to school, and after school when we came home, he was always waiting for us at the bus stop so he could walk us home. But when a few days turned into a few weeks and then a few months and Dad still did not have a job, I started to worry. I worried that we would not be able to live in our house anymore or that we would not have enough money for food. When I overheard Mom asking Dad, what are we going to do? That's when I really started to worry. So while Dad was busy looking for a job and Mom was busy looking after some of the neighborhood kids for extra money, Ricky and I came up with a plan to save money. It's called Operation Save. I said one night until we were sitting at the dinner table. Ricky and I have thought of some ways that we can save money, I explained, and the secret way to saving money is to spend less, said Ricky with a smile on his face. From that day onwards, Operation Save was in full swing. That meant that whenever we wanted things like a new pair of soccer shoes, a new video game, and even going out for dinner, we would think about it first. Was it really Was it something we really needed? And guess what? We found out that for a lot of things we thought and we needed, we really didn't need them at all. Ricky and I learned how to make the things we already had feel like new again. I buffed out my soccer shoes, and Ricky found an old video game from the back of the cabinet that we had forgotten about. We even started making our own lunches instead of buying lunch at school. Even dinner time turned into an adventure. Mom and Dad became experts at using leftovers. And to make a dinner even better, Mom started to make a fancy names for everything she made. What could have guessed that there were so many recipes for leftover chicken? It seemed like Operation Save was really helping us. We didn't spend so much money on the things we didn't need, and we were still able to play soccer and go to the movies once in a while. It wasn't so bad. That one morning, when Ricky and I came downstairs for breakfast, we found Dad in the kitchen making pancakes. He was wearing a fancy suit and tie with an apron wrapped around his waist. "Are you feeling okay, Dad?" Ricky asked. "I feel terrific," Dad said as he flipped the pancake high up into the air. "Let's eat," said Dad. "I have some good news." "Come on, Dad, tell us the good news," I said as I finished my last pancake. "Okay, here it goes. I've got a job and I start today," Dad smiled. Ricky and I jumped up and shouted, "Hooray! I'm going to miss you, Dad," I said. "Me too," Dad sighed, "but everything's going to be okay." As I think back to the snowy day, a lot has changed. Dad has a job, Mom still looks after the neighborhood kids, and Operation Save has become a way of life for us. Maybe things really do happen for a reason. Okay, and today I read you two books. One is called Studying is Hard, and another one is called Daddy Lost His Job. Okay, thank you for seeing this video. Bye!